Welcome back to another wonderful, wacky episode of Call to the Table, where we talk about all of the wonderful things that God is doing in our lives throughout this pandemic and all the things that we can kind of have a retrospect on through a crazy, crazy time. I'm Liv, and I have had 3 cups of coffee today and am currently recording from the comfort of my bed.
I'm John. I've been moving logs around, getting ready for a fire tonight.
I'm Jordan. I am on 1 cup of coffee, and I already know I'm going to need more.
I'm Caroline. I got up 40 minutes ago, and I still have breakfast in front of me, but you're not going to hear it because of the power of the mute button.
So, as Liv said, today we are talking about finding the blessings that God has given us throughout this very crazy time in our history. And so, the first thing I kind of wanted to pose is when we say that we're finding the blessings, is this something that we are and are encouraging people to do actively, like daily or weekly, or is this something just kind of when you're discouraged that you are taking that time to kind of sit there and be like, okay, I feel discouraged and I'm going to try and see the blessings of this? Live.
I personally think it's something that we should do daily and weekly and monthly. So I think blessing should be looked at as far as uh, it's like goals, setting your goals. At the end of every day, you can have the most discouraging moments, but finding that one blessing throughout the rest of your day kind of gives you that steamroll. It's like it's like going not going to bed angry. You know, you can be angry at the world, but if you go to bed and you haven't discovered that one blessing, like you're doing yourself a disservice. And I think it's something that we should be doing constantly, looking at, we're recording this on May 1st. It's a new month, it's a new way of looking at things. I went back in my brain and in my journal of looking at all the blessings that April brought. Even though April was one of the craziest, longest months of my life,
Yeah.
I still got the chance to look back and reevaluate what that month actually gave. Um, but no, I don't think we should only feel or we should only check our blessings when we're discouraged. It's something we should do even when we're happy, when we're in a positive light, when things are moving forward in a good way. That's my quick answer.
Okay. John.
I'm very much the same on that. Because, we are told to think about the Lord every day. We are told that we need to always think of everything He does for us. Whether that's the breath in our lungs, whether that's the sun shining, whether that's the good uses of pollen, spreading.
There is no good use for pollen.
I
For bringing us
second
food
that.
to our
Oh
table,
my
to
word.
bringing beauty from flowers. There's good with almost everything in the world that is not purely evil.
Snakes are purely evil. I'll argue that snakes are purely evil.
I was about to say, give me one blessing of a spider.
Keeps the
Okay, okay,
mosquito population down.
yeah, mosquitoes. I mean, that
We
is
have
very
mosquito
helpful.
hawks. It's fine.
But the
Give them
mosquito
their
hawks
job
aren't
back.
perfect. They're not going to get every mosquito.
And nor are the spiders. They can die, and then the mosquito hawks have a little bit of a better chance. Give them a chance.
I will
You've
say
also
the
got
snake
house flies. You got all
population,
sorts of things that help keep diseases down.
yeah,
They
same thing with snakes. We currently have a king snake that lives underneath our barn, which I'm not super happy about because I never know when I'm gonna see him in the backyard. But
But
I mean,
there's not going to be any other snakes in your yard.
and he keeps down the vermin population. Even though I think all animals are cool, diseases not good. We don't want an overpopulation of something hurting the yard or other stuff like that. So, yeah.
I thought for a second you were going to say we don't want an overpopulation of diseases, and I was just about to say
No. Oh,
COVID-19.
oh, babe. No. 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 No, we have a
Do
big
the
backyard, and it
do
gets
the
torn up a lot.
Caroline, when you did the no, all I could hear in my head was Jenna. No. That's all I could hear. Oh
Look, I need to go visit Jenna's Ratchet Salon because I need a haircut.
no. Preach, man. I want to go have her do my hair.
She's also gonna do your eyebrows and your stash. You're not gonna
Exactly.
realize that your stash is suddenly gonna be darker, but it will be. She's gonna bleach your eyebrows and your
My eyebrows are already bleached, so how's that gonna work?
well,
Or
they just won't be there. They'll be there, but they will be so not there that a void opens up because all of a sudden it's just the
two
point
black
of
holes open up above
inexistence.
her eyes. Is that what you're saying?
I don't
And
want to have
you'll walk
black holes
out
in
with
my
a
eyes.
beautiful beard that
How
does
did
not
we
identify
get
as a he, it identifies as a she with a beard.
Anywho, Jenna, if you ever listen to this, we want to come visit your Ratchet Salon. Just saying.
Jenna, we love you.
Yeah. John, were you done?
I think so.
Okay.
Were you done?
I have no idea now. I'm
um,
lost. I can't be found. I'm sorry.
I think for me, like, yes, I agree that every day you should be able to find the blessings, and like that's something you should keep in check. I think for me though, like on Saturdays is my time where like I write in my prayer journal just because my week is so hectic as all of ours are. It's a little harder for me to be able to sit down and take out an hour or two to do my devotions in my prayer journal. And so on Saturdays, that I get up and I make coffee and I go and I sit down in my comfy little spot. And we kind of talked about this in one of our Instagram live podcasts that we did, where there's a couch that's in my living room, and that's where I sit and look out the window and I journal. And that's where I'm more active about it, where like I specifically list the blessings that are in the week that I have already recognized, but I'm writing it down and it's something I can go back and look at. So I think, yes, we should be finding blessings daily, but as far as really sitting and being in celebration of the blessings that we have found with God and in our prayer time and stuff, I think you do it at a time when you can really focus on it. So yes, find blessings daily, but also have that time where you're able to sit there and celebrate the blessings that you have found with God, and really have a time of thanksgiving to Him for the stuff that He has given. Okay, anyway, Caroline.
I agree with what everybody has said in that blessing should be something that you take into account for every day, because sometimes something will happen and maybe you don't think about it as a blessing, but then at the end of the day when you're able to reflect, you go, wow, I'm actually kind of glad this happened because I was able to connect with this person, or this actually will help me in the long run for whatever reason. Could be something at work, could be just, hey, I was alerted that this is something that I need to change in my life. So it's being able to examine everything in a, for good or for ill, and say, hey, I can see God's hand in this. It helps you stay connected to the fact that, hey, God is here. This is something that, even if it is a small miracle, it's still a miracle. So, and it keeps us grounded in who God is as a person, and that He is, He's not always big miracles or some sort of thing. Because I know that for a lot of, well, not just for a lot of people, but the population, the unchristian population in general probably is like, I'd only believe if I saw, big stuff. Well, God wants us to be able to look at the little stuff as well. I mean, in the Beatitudes, He points out the lily of the valley and how Solomon was not clothed even as one of these. And so He's saying, look, this is a little miracle. So that's kind of what counting your blessings is, hey, these are all of God's little miracles. I prayed for this to happen, and this is how he made it happen in a, yes, it's sort of mundane, but at the same time it gives me happiness because I'm helping somebody else. I've learned something for myself. We've grown closer in this way. So I mean, everybody's kind of said everything that I already wanted to say, but that's my perspective on like daily blessings,
Yeah.
I guess, because I do agree with the whole let's do a reflection on this, let's do a reflection on this, because the more time out you have from it, the bigger picture that you can see. So, yeah, I don't want to just reiterate the obvious for our mutual consideration for the whole thing, you know.
Yeah. So, yes, Liv.
I love this hand raising thing. It's
I
really
know.
making my life happy. It's
Mm-hmm.
like Zencaster made this for me. Uh,
Yeah.
so let me ask this question really quick. Is it possible to find blessings in, thinking the worst case scenarios of this current pandemic that we're kind of living in, this new weird thing that has kind of bombarded all of our lives? Is it possible to find blessings in this?
Absolutely.
I mean, I agree. I just, thought I'd
I know
ask the
you're
question.
asking for.
Are we doing this in order too, or is this posed to a certain person?
Oh, it's to anybody.
Do you want to, John? Do you want to answer?
I mean, I thought we've mentioned this on other podcasts. It might have been a live podcast that we did, but this has been for the world as a whole just to slow down. In my opinion, it has allowed everybody to slow down to focus on what matters, which should be family
And God.
and God. Because I mean, well, of course, God. But I mean, that's
Staying.
because how
Don't
many
forget God, John.
times?
How dare you?
But I mean, how often do we use the excuse, well, I didn't read my Bible today because I was too busy?
Yeah.
Or I didn't talk to you meaningfully today because I was too busy. I was too tired from stuff I've been doing today. How many of y'all have that excuse now?
You do.
I do, but for some days, yes.
I do.
But
I have that well, I had that excuse. I don't have an excuse anymore.
but what I'm saying is, as the world as a whole,
Yeah.
as a general rule of thumb, especially within the United States, and given within the United States today is a day that a good bit of the country has reopened.
This is true. I forget about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whether or
John was
not they
like
take
all.
advantage of that, though, might
I
not
know John
want
was
to
all
in
about
droves.
last. John was all about last night when we were trying to figure out what to do. He was like, "Okay, at 11:59, we're gonna go and we're gonna like just drive around for the sake of driving out." I'm like, "No, we are not. I'm not staying up till midnight just to break, just because we're not no longer in shelter in place."
I mean, I broke that shelter in place yesterday. I went to a friend's house and hung
I
out.
I frequently broke it just to go out and do whatever.
Yeah. No, but I agree. I think one of the really cool things about this pandemic for me personally, um, I was worried about my job. I was worried because a lot of studios in general in the United States have had a very, very hard time adapting to this particular situation because, you know, dance studios are made up of the community that pays for the services. So going into it, it was like, oh my goodness, we can't charge tuition if people don't have a job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But on the flip side, like usually I would be freaking out about these things. But the beauty of it is, Jordan, you and I have had frequent like reconnection. Not that we didn't, not that we needed a reconnection, but it was like we are more constant and persistent with checking in with each other as far as like, hey, how's this going? Hey, how are you doing here? And that's been like a huge blessing for me, not only because you're one of my matrons of honor, but just because like I get your text and I can actually respond at that moment, opposed to because we work opposite schedules.
Yeah, and I'm having to wait 3 days to get a response from you.
Exactly. And now it's like, oh, I actually like I'll sit down and be like, "Oh, I have a text from Jordan and I don't have work. Let me respond to this." And
Yeah,
our conversations have been, deeper and more meaningful because it's
absolutely.
been, one, you're not working early in the morning, so you're able to stay up a little later, but I'm not working in the evening, so I can actually like put my time and energy into relationships that I don't usually get to do unless it's over the weekend when I'm not working.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree with that. I like the fact that I've been able to see my god or our goddaughter more. I like the fact that yeah, I've been able to text people back immediately, and I'm not, and it's any time throughout the day. So same with you, Liv. I can get a text message from my mom in the middle of the day and say, "Hey, can you come over real fast? I need to run something by you." And because she lives 2 seconds away from me, I'm able
Almost
to
literally.
almost literally, I'm able to pick up in the middle of the day and go and see her, or go see my grandmother, or take Happy for a walk, whereas normally he's with my mom. So it's been really nice to be able to do things that really slow me down, because I'm still working from home, which a lot of people are not able to do.
Right.
But it gives me the freedom to get my stuff done that I need to do for work during the day, but at the same time take time to go out and walk and be with people and kind of be in that community more, because normally I'm just shut off from that.
Yeah. And it's on the flip side, not just talking about our community, but I have friends who live all over the country. I even have friends who live all over the world who are also in this slowdown moment where it's like we text each other and like, "Hey, do you want to FaceTime?"
Yeah,
It's 11 o'clock p.m., 11 p.m. my time, but, in Europe, it's another time, and, I can actually have these conversations with people that live, in California, in Ohio. I have friends who live in Texas. I have friends who live, in Switzerland. Like, I've been able to reconnect with these people that I usually go months and months and months with,
yeah.
without any conversation or communication. So I was just curious, like, because I know, some of our listeners might be sitting there and saying, yeah, it's easy to count your blessings when things are easy or when things are looking up in this pandemic for, for specific people. But I want to encourage anyone who's listening to this, like, I'm typically, and John, Jordan, Caroline, you can attest to this. I'm typically the person who freaks out when things are changing or when things shift
Yeah.
massively, especially when it comes to finances. And I've been really
Mhm.
blessed with jobs that are, upholding the contracts that we've had because they financially can support their teachers and their staff throughout the rest of our contracts. But I normally would be like, well, what am I going to do? Like, how am I going to take care of this? What do I need to do here? I would have stocked up on food. I would have stocked up on essentials. Like, things would have been a lot different. But,
Yeah.
it's so I feel for those people who are probably in panic mode right now, but just know that there are blessings in panic modes as well, and it's not all crazy, it's not all upsetting, and it's not all, negative. you know Turn your TVs off, turn your Facebook
Mhm.
off, go to Twitter, and go check out all the fun gifs that I post on Twitter, because that's where it's at.
Quick thing, Olivia. How many people you think after this are going to keep an emergency supply of toilet paper on hand?
No one. No one. Except for me, because here's the deal. Fun fact. I have been utilizing single ply this whole pandemic.
I'm so sorry.
And then I find out my mom's been
Who's watching
hoarding the two ply. My mom
Who's
hid the
watching
two
them?
ply from us.
Oh,
So
good
I've
grief.
been using single ply, which is not fun. So
No.
I will be hoarding all of the fancy stuff the second it's available to me.
There
And
was
I'm
some.
gonna look at everyone and be like, "You can't touch my toilet paper. I had to do single ply."
Today on Bunkers, we have Olivia's hoard of toilet paper. Yes, I built this bunker underneath the ground with my own hands. Nobody's gonna touch my 5 ply anytime soon.
No, if there was 5-ply, I'd be going out and finding it. I will pay money for that right now. This single ply is not fun.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, love.
Eh, you know what? It's fine.
Caroline,
It's
do you
like
have anything to add?
we all need to go toilet paper caroling and just give people toilet paper.
Have
Oh,
you
look, honey,
seen-
somebody TP'd the house. We're saved.
I'm
No.
telling you, I'm gonna TP my parents' house for the fact that they've been hoarding the 2-ply and giving me the single ply for this entire time because that stuff doesn't leave. It doesn't. You don't run out of single ply. It doesn't run out. It just stays.
You just need to take the TP and write in TP 1-ply sucks on their lawn.
Yes.
I
Yes.
agree.
And then you take the hose to it so it sticks into the lawn a little bit.
Ew, that's gross. That's disgusting. There's
Oh.
nothing worse than like water wet single ply toilet paper.
Hence the reason why I said it.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad.
Oh my goodness. So, turning this back to where we're supposed to be talking, because I feel like we've had way too many ADD moments today.
It's like mini quarantine cast in the middle of blessings.
That's
Yeah.
true.
This is a happy and fun one, so why shouldn't it be?
Exactly. I'm actually going to ask something that was not. It just dawned on me, Liv, when you asked that question. How are people who may be listening that are in the trenches, that are in the hospitals, that are working overtime due to this, that are really dealing with the people that are coming in with COVID and doing the tests and stuff like that, that may be getting, that are surrounded by negativity literally all day? What is a way that they can look and change their perspective, going back to last week with perspective and reality, and start seeing some blessings?
I got it.
Go for it.
All you need is a giant bear suit.
Okay, I'm very intrigued. Where are you going with this?
Because hear me out.
We have no choice.
It's difficult times, right? And you
Right.
need to, you need to find blessings. Well, the best way to find blessings in dark, deep, uncertainties is to be a blessing.
Oh.
So,
Just like
get
that sign I gave you that's in the guest room.
Yep.
Check out my hazmat suit, guys. It's Barney the dinosaur.
Exactly. 1, keeps you safe. 2, you're blessing other people, putting smiles on other people's faces. Like, it
Unless
would
you're afraid
just
of people dressing up as stuff like my younger brother was.
that's just an example. You can dress up, you can get fun face masks. There's like so many people who are selling and donating really fun fabric face masks right now. Like I have a friend, I was like, I kind of low key want like, a giraffe face so it looks like I'm a giraffe when I put it on my face. Like that would be so fun.
Girl, it's Plague Doctor Chic this season. Like, come on.
Exactly. So like that's the serious part of my answer is being a blessing actually can inflict reverse it and inflict blessings on yourself is finding small ways to assist and bless other people, whether it be just giving somebody a flower from your garden. My one of my students, she's been, Clara, she's been going around and giving flowers to people around her neighborhood and around people that she lives close to and like leaving them at the door. And she left me flowers at the studio one day, and that was a huge blessing on my life because it just was this massive moment of my students are still thinking of me.
She needs to get her
And we've
booty to my house.
we've
I've seen
had
her stuff on Instagram, and it's like, oh, so many flowers, and now it's like she's handing them out to people.
yeah
I feel
and
unloved. Clara, get
she
your
also
booty to me.
has this Instagram, her Monster Meals Instagram account, and she draws these monsters. And some deal with harder topics, but there are so many others that have really nice fun moments. Like she makes them funny, and that's been a blessing because she'll send one to me. She drove by my house one day, dropped it into my mailbox, and it was this really beautiful like Monster Meals kind of cartoon of the two of us, and it was so sweet, and it was a huge blessing on my life. And I talked to her frequently, and she's been a guest. She was our guest all of April, so I can say her name, and I'm not worried about it. But
No,
it's
Liz,
just
you can't say her name.
Clara.
We say it 3 times in the mirror and a blood moon, then she'll pop out with a monster mole.
Like
Every
Beetlejuice?
window in your house will be smashed because a rock went through it with a monster moles attached to it.
Yeah. But yeah, just being a blessing to other people, I think, is a really good way of finding yourself being blessed, because paying it forward is really all we can do right now, in the sense of maybe not buying something for somebody behind you, but paying it forward in blessings. You're going to start to see that your life is a little bit more blessed. But bear suits. I would have no problem going to the doctor, because, and we've talked about this. There's a chance that I may or may not have already had COVID in November, because I had a severe upper respiratory infection.
Yeah.
And, I'm waiting for there's a big hospital in the state that we live in that is developing a way to check antibodies to see if you've already had it. And the second that's available to local doctors, I'm going and doing it. If my doctor rolled up with a needle to draw blood in a bear suit, I would be completely content with that. I would love that. I would be happy. That would bless my life.
Yeah, I definitely think that would be a very interesting doctor visit.
Absolutely.
I have want to go to work now in a bear suit.
Totally good.
You really need to.
Probably catch on fire though.
That's true.
Because we've been grinding some steel, and the sparks from my coworker have been hitting me, and that would catch that bear suit on fire.
Okay, so we just, find one that's flame retardant. It's fine.
Exactly.
See, I was going to take that question in a different direction.
Go ahead, John.
Do it.
Sometimes you need to focus not on what's happening to you, but how you're viewing what you're doing.
Ooh.
For instance, if you're one of the testers, you need to view it not as you're around a bunch of people with negativity. You need to view it as you're doing something to help the community get through this.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
If you're somebody suffering in a hospital, the fact that you're in a hospital means you're better than some people in the world. That you actually are being taken care of, at least to some extent. If you're a doctor or a nurse working double or triple overtime, again, it's back to you're helping the community, and on top of that, you should be getting some decent pay.
I mean, don't make it about the money, but it helps.
I mean, yeah. But I mean, if you want to focus on the negativity, you're going to see nothing but negativity. If you try to focus on the little positives, you will start seeing there's more positives than negative.
Amen to that.
Caroline, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you are in the hospitals, you are a soldier. You are fighting a battle that can be won, and you are going to win.
Amen.
And it really helps put in perspective if you have to deal with a patient that is just driving you insane. You got to think of it as, this is for the whole world. I am treating this person because this person could infect somebody else, and it spreads everywhere. So I am fighting one battle at a time, and every battle that I win is another battle won towards the ultimate goal of finally beating this thing.
Yeah.
So I mean, sometimes you just gotta, when I say completely change your perspective, it's like not using your imagination, if you want to put it that way, but being able to say, hey, I'm a soldier, this is what I'm doing, and just treating every case like that. So that way it makes it less personal. I would say it's not as easy to get offended, because I mean, sickness can bring out the best and the worst in people.
Yeah.
And people in hospitals are going to see a lot of the worst. So as long as you're able to go, maybe this person isn't like this, normally. I don't know. All I know is that they're sick, they're here, I'm going to treat them, and by treating this person, I am helping the rest of the world. And putting it in perspective like that.
Yeah, I agree. Before I answer you, Liv, I want to say something really fast and kind of
Yeah, go for it.
piggybacking off of what Caroline said. On behalf of Called to the Table, to our first responders, our nurses, our doctors, um, the National Guard that has stepped up, the staff that are taking care of um, the elderly at homes and stuff like that. We just want to say thank
Mm-hmm.
you for standing up and for being the heroes that you are, and for trying to make the best out of this very scary situation, especially for people that have been diagnosed with COVID. I want to say on behalf of Call to the Table, thank you, thank you, thank you. We really do appreciate you, and I wish that there was more that we could do, but obviously we're limited in what we can. But thank you so much for being heroes during this time.
But I say on top of that, for the farmers and the grocery stores, the
Yes.
truck drivers that carry food and toilet paper, and that's more than 2 ply.
The
That's
delivery
not enough
people.
left.
I mean, just
But
in all the grocery stores, the delivery people.
yeah,
Those
Yes.
guys are going out to houses and they don't know
Yes.
what they're going to find. If the person's, if they have an open door, that makes it even scarier, for them. Because
Yeah.
we get stuff delivered and mom always says, just put it on the front porch and we'll
Yeah.
get it after you're gone.
Yeah.
Reducing contact.
And the teachers that have had to step up and do digital learning, because this is the area that I work.
Oh, yeah.
I am an aide, so I'm not an actual teacher, but oh my goodness, y'all are incredible. And
Mm-hmm.
to the parents that have had to step up and become teachers, y'all are incredible. So just in general, just anybody that has stepped up and had to help take care of the situation, y'all rock, and thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Liv, go ahead.
Well, I was actually gonna say that, so it's fine. I do want to. I will add, because I know a lot of uh, not all restaurants have this mindset, but a lot of restaurants have this particular mindset, and the company that my fiance works for, that's the reason they're still open.
Yeah.
The restaurants that are keeping their doors open and doing curbside, doing drive-through, doing free delivery and waiving those delivery fees. Uh, that's a huge thank you to them, because grocery stores are constantly losing items off the shelf, and families are like, I don't I can't cook because all of those
Mm-hmm.
items that I need are off the shelf, and now how am I supposed to feed my family? Those fast food restaurants, those main chain restaurants, the fact that they're open because they want to be able to provide food for families who may not have been able to get to the grocery store in time, because they've been teaching their kids, because they're essential workers themselves and had to work during peak hours when the delivery truck had just come in and they just restocked and now it's empty again. So big shout out and huge thank you to you guys who are working in fast food main chain restaurants that are staying open for the sole fact of you want to make sure you feed families.
Yeah, amen.
as somebody that does work in a fast food restaurant, being able to pull same dollar hours with just a drive-through and curbside pickup is quite a feat. Business-wise, we've actually kind of been roughly the same with reduced hours. So yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah. And my fiance works in the same kind of general area that John, you work in, um as far as company goes, and he was telling me that they're very surprised at how consistent it's been, because they were really worried about dropping in sales.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a 40-50% loss.
Yeah, that was the number he was telling me,
And
and
I think we're looking at like maybe like 20.
yeah.
Wow.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's been incredible.
Yeah. I don't know the exact numbers. I didn't ask those specifics, but he has told me that it's a huge blessing to see, not only, and this goes back to my statement, this company is trying to stay open because they want to bless other people to have food for other people if they weren't able to get food through the grocery stores, or they just want to change it up and get out and go through the drive-through. and seeing that blessing still return on the flip side of it and people still matching, those numbers and keeping those numbers up. Obviously there's going to be a drop. Obviously, keeping your dining room closed affects a lot of it, but seeing the numbers the way that they're seeing, he was like, it's a blessing to
Yeah.
it's an outpouring blessing, so it's also an inpouring blessing. And again, that goes back to what I said, like being a blessing creates blessings.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's actually a good segue. What are some blessings that we have all experienced? This is kind of a time where we can kind of sit there and talk about what we have experienced, and also Liv, I don't know if we have anybody on Instagram who, I know you posted out on Instagram about people sharing their blessings. So if we have any blessings there that from our listeners that they have also shared.
I'm checking.
Okay.
Sorry, I had to keep myself from burping. We have somebody.
Cool.
I posted the question of like, what are some blessings that, our listeners have been experiencing through this time of COVID. And our faithful easy.238, Ella, who has joined us on so many live streams, and, huge shout out to her because she is an avid listener and she is really awesome
Yeah, we
at,
love her.
oh yes. And we had a really fun time to just like get to know her a little bit better a
Yeah.
couple weeks ago. She responded with seeing how God is using gifts and talents to heal her heart,
Oh, that's
in
good.
different ways. So that's a blessing that she's experienced, which is really huge. That's really awesome. Seeing the amount of people have come to me and said, like, yeah, in this time, like God's healed me from this. God's put this in my life. God's moved me out of this sin, or just hundreds of different things that are going on. Like that's amazing. So that's really awesome, Ella. I'm really excited to hear more about how God is utilizing gifts and talents to heal your heart.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you,
Mhm.
Liv, for you personally?
Well, for me personally, as we all know, I'm getting married in September.
Woohoo!
Mhm.
And that is officially, since we're in May, 4 months away.
Yeah, that's been something nice too with me, is I've been able to just sit down and spend hours planning your bachelorette party. It's been great.
So excited for this. It's not even funny. Like I
I
cannot
made
wait.
I made my first big purchase for the bachelorette party last night. I was so excited.
You're gonna have to tell
Liv,
me what it is
I'm
later,
going to say this right
Jordan.
now. I've talked her out of some things for you.
I appreciate it. Jordan. I'm gonna have to give you Melinda's number. She already has some things that she wants to bring.
That's
I'll have
fine.
to do that are bachelorette related. Anyway, but with that, like I've already moved twice. I went to college, lived in the university for 3 years, came home, spent a year at home, but worked opposite schedules with my family. And then I moved for 4 years, and I was in a completely different state for 4 years, and now I'm back and I still work opposite schedule with my family. So there are days, let me rephrase this. There are weeks where I actually go without seeing my mom, my dad, my brothers. I will go without seeing my brother and my sister-in-law. There are so many things that, because I work an evening job, I don't get the opportunity to have dinner with my family, to have, opportunities to sit with my fiance and hang out during the week. And because everything has slowed down, I got to spend weeks with my family and have dinners with my family that I would not have had if COVID-19 did not happen
Yeah.
before I got married. Because when I get married, I'm going to be living with my fiance, obviously. He'll be my husband at that point,
No,
and
you're going to live in two separate houses. You're never.
You're
we
gonna be in
already
2 beds side by side, just like in the old movies.
Oh,
Yep.
no,
gosh.
no, 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 no.
No, 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 no.
I like cuddling too much, so let's be real. But yeah, like I would not have had, the opportunity because I would still be working. It would be recital season right now, so I'd be super stressed out about recitals and getting that together and spending weekends at the theater. And then then after that, I'd have summer intensives and summer classes. Then I'm going to Ohio. I have bachelorette parties. I think, there's talk of a bridal shower gonna happen that my mom wants to put together with like family and obviously like you guys and friends and stuff. But there's so many things, and the world was is moving so fast. I would have missed out on moments to spend with my family and have those moments with them before I move. And he's 22 minutes down the road, but I still wouldn't be seeing them and having these dinners every week. I wouldn't have that opportunity because my life would get busy again. So
Yeah.
the big blessing that I've experienced is really getting to have that quality family time and quality time with my fiance before life starts up again, and honestly before life changes massively in 4 months, because I've never been married before, but I hear things change.
Yes. Yes,
Things
they do.
change.
And I will say what's helped with me and Jordan is once a week we do try to actually go and spend a dinner and some time with our families, on separate days, for one for her family, one for my family. And I think that's helped us a lot with especially keeping connected with our families.
Absolutely. It also helps that our families are like 5 minutes away from us.
Yeah, and I think that's what's going to be really a positive thing, because we've talked about the changes that'll come, and the opportunities to go and visit when we want to. My parents will live 22 minutes. His parents live about an hour and a half north of us, so seeing them is a little bit more difficult at times.
Right.
But the both of us have talked, like, family is extremely important to both of us. That's one of the things that attracted me to him, was how important family is and how important community is to him. So I know that we'll find compromise and find that flow once things happen, and we're
Yeah.
married. But it has been really nice to be able to sit and play video games with my brothers, and things that I would be at work, and then I'd come home and want to start getting ready for bed because work is hard. Teaching dance is hard.
Yaha.
Oh yeah.
So
Teaching dance to
it's
5-year-olds, it's like, yeah, just teaching 5-year-olds how to read, that's one thing. Teaching 5-year-olds and they're moving? Oh my word.
yeah, that's why I don't do that. I don't no, I don't teach children under 8.
That's hilarious.
Hey guys, Caroline here with a huge shout out to all first responders all over the world. Whether you're in a hospital or urgent care center or running deliveries for stores and restaurants, Call to the Table salutes your bravery and heroism in this crazy time of need. For those of us in different situations, let's continue to do our part by social distancing and sanitizing so we can beat this thing into the ground as one united force. That's all I've got for today. Bye, guys!
What about you,
8 is
John?
the cutoff point for my love.
Oh, I love children. I love playing with any child under 8.
Just kidding, just
I
kidding.
I love little ones. Like my friend's son, I love him to death. He's 1. I love him to death. Would not teach 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-year-olds how to dance.
Love child, would not teach.
Yeah, no.
So, what about you, John? What are some blessings that you have found in all of this? He's sitting and thinking.
Because my work
Think
hours,
faster.
as I was saying, because the work hours at my main job have been reduced to no overtime, I have been getting a half a day and a full day off during the week.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's, the fact that I'm actually having 2 days a week again where I'm not working and I can get errands and chores done has been really helpful for me actually being able to do said errands and chores. Because by the time Sunday rolls around most weeks, on a normal week, I really don't feel like going out and mowing the yard or helping out clean up the house or going out and doing things I like trying to build stuff or, things like that. I really just want to sit down and be lazy. And the fact that I have 2 days, I'm getting exponentially more done.
Exponentially. It's okay. I'm sorry.
But yeah, I mean that's helped out with that, which has also helped out with mine and Jordan's relationship because I'm actually getting stuff done around the house.
It's really nice.
We've been focused a little bit more on actually spending time together. We've been going for walks with each other every day. It's been nice.
Yep, I agree. I think for me, the blessings that I found is kind of like what I've said. I've been able to take my day and obviously get stuff done for work, but getting to be able to talk with Liv more and to go on walks with John and just to be home and not feel like I'm so rushed during the day, because a normal day for me is, getting up at like 6:30 or 6, depending on how lazy I am. But getting up and then, getting ready for work, dropping Happy off with my mom, getting to work, and then I'm at work until close to 4, and then depending on the day, I'm either going and taking my grandmother somewhere, or I'm coming home and having to get dinner ready because then John is gonna come home. And so I've been able to kind of just what Liv kind of talked about last week, which is just being still and taking my time to do stuff. We've been incredibly blessed with the fact that John has still been able to work and I've been able to work from home. And so being able to just enjoy my time and then take my time on stuff, because I don't do well when I feel like I'm being rushed exponentially. I do well under pressure. I just don't do well when I feel like I have 5 billion things to do and I'm being rushed. So yeah, I mean, I think that's a big thing is being able to just take time and do little things. I think that's the biggest blessing that I have had during this. What about you, Caroline?
Well, I kind of feel like I'm the odd one out here in that my life has always been kind of, I mean, my family is small. So the family that I don't get to see usually, I have actually gotten to see them a little bit more because they want me to tutor my youngest cousin, which is very nice. She is
Very nice.
5. She is a handful, so that's gotten me away from the house, which is nice. And my next door neighbor, who I have known ever since I was a fetus, has me tutoring one of her grandchildren as well. But not a whole lot has changed, which is why I said I'm kind of like the odd one out. I have been able over the years to have a very good relationship with my mother because, yes, we're still living together, but it's just the two of us, and we've gone on a lot of vacations together and done a lot of stuff. And I mean that kind of hasn't changed. I
Yeah.
wouldn't say we've gotten even closer. It's just this is almost like an early summer for me.
Yeah.
Except for the work, I guess, because usually for the past few years I've been tutoring at a tutoring company, which I would sort of have on and off on a day. If a student canceled, I wouldn't have that. And now it's kind of like I have a smaller amount of Huntington, but it's still summer for me.
Yeah.
So it hasn't been a huge shift for me. But I will say there are others like me out there. I've seen a lot of them on Instagram. And I think for us, it's a matter of sort of evaluating, well, this time it's not quite summer, but it's even more different. I don't want to say special, but, we can't go out and do stuff on vacation. We are
Yeah.
not going to restaurants. Those of us who are used to being introverts who stay in the house mostly doing our own thing, we aren't able to go out and get that sort of to give our energy to other people, so that way when we come home it's like, I am ready to recharge with my own thing. a new balance that we're finding.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's this has given me the courage to start on some personal projects. I have, uh, when you guys, our listeners, see on Instagram our quarantine stories, you will see in mine that I am working on a painting. Well, two actually. There's one that I have been working on all during the school year as part of my job for the library. These I think it was a senior AP design class at the school where I work. The librarian, who is basically my school BFF, gave them 6 gigantic canvases. They're like 4 by 3 feet, I want to say. Anyway, and she said, "Paint me some book covers because the top of our shelves, there's too much space up there. I need to put something up there." And I got 3 out of those 6 done. And so I finished the fourth one, which was very simple because it was very graphic designish. And the one that I'm currently working on is a gigantic, realistic version of Smog from The Hobbit. And that's going to take me for freaking ever. But that's a little different from my fun painting, which is very, very teeny. Because I got okay, small plug for Ross. If you guys are artists, you can find like a gigantic amount of canvases for ridiculously cheap there. Okay, plug for Russ done. I just because I know we're going to end up talking about video games, because Liv has her Animal Crossing and she will tell us all about it. But I love emulators online because I don't have to have a Game Boy or a Game Boy Color or Game Boy Advance or whatever, and I can still play the games. And so I have played Pokemon Sapphire for the first time, and I'm halfway through Pokemon Crystal right now. I'm stuck at the Elite Four, and it's absolutely driving me insane. But anyway, I said, why don't I do some paintings of my winning team and me? I think that'll be really, really fun. And it'll be like, hey, a quarantine memory. Because I see a lot of people on Instagram doing like quarantine cross stitching, which I think is absolutely hilarious. So that's kind of been my thing. I feel like I kind of went all over there with that, but yeah.
Your thing is you're getting to do, like, your little mini blessing is you're getting to play different games and work on projects and stuff like that.
I mean, the thing is, I would normally do those sorts of things just after school and in much smaller quantities. And I
Yeah.
will say, after school, since as an introvert I give my energy to other people, sometimes it's like, well, I've done my thing for today. Okay, time to die for the rest of the day. Well, that's not necessarily what I have to do anymore.
Right.
So, still, though, it's finding the balance between, oh, I had a night. I will not say whether it was good or bad. I had a night's sleep. I exist, therefore I don't know what to do with myself for today. So it's honing that energy, honing that desire, and actually doing something with it. And the hardest part is starting. That is something I'm going to say for all of our listeners. You want to do something, the hardest part is starting it. Once you actually are doing it, it is so much easier to just keep going.
Yeah.
So just start it, and yeah.
Well, there we go. So, Liv, I think you had a thing that you wanted to talk about. So, do you want to go ahead and swing into that?
Yeah, sure. So I just, Caroline transitioned really well into this.
Yay.
We talk about blessings, and it's very much like, obviously we're a faith-based podcast, and that is where our focus is. But there are some things that we've been able to do that are our blessings, and some things that we, that warm our heart that maybe aren't. I'm not saying that are sinful. Obviously, that's not what I'm saying, but that are less God focused.
Yeah.
God tells us to delight in things that are obviously not sinful, but what are some things that we've been able to do that maybe are not so focused on our relationship with God, that we're able to delight in? Is it reading your favorite books? Is it, because we've talked about, like, I've talked about family time. That is a huge blessing for me, and it's even been bigger for my walk with the Lord, and like pursuing that mindset moving forward of, okay, I'm going to be able to have that family time. I'm gonna have less hours next year because my fiance and I decided like I'm not gonna have to work so many hours so we can spend more time together. But what I'm getting at is like there are things like video games, reading books, watching movies, playing sports with social distancing, maybe by yourself,
The
painting,
whole team
drawing.
is on FaceTime.
Yeah, who knows?
And when you pass the ball just hits the camera.
Of course. That's how
I'm
it has
so,
to happen.
I'm sorry, just funny image.
Of course. Or like binge watching TV. Like these are things that on a typical, in a typical life would be seen as quote unquote unhealthy to do. But now we're being encouraged by society to stay indoors, continuing to be active, but stay indoors. And Netflix has all these new shows out. They have all these movies. Companies, these big movie companies, instead of releasing their movies on in theaters, they've
Mhm.
put them on demand so you can watch these movies that you were so excited to see, but instead of postponing them. So I guess transitioning from like obviously like a very faith-based type thing, what are some little things that we've been able to delight in that maybe are not like journaling or prayer or the obvious like big blessings that we've been able to experience reconnecting our faith with the Lord?
I think I'm going to jump in for kind of me and John. I think a big one for us is, you know, Saturday nights now we are having movie night, and it's something that we didn't do before because he was typically working on Fridays and then he worked Saturdays. And so by the time he would get home Saturday afternoon, he was just tired. And again, kind of going off of what he said, the fact that he now has 2 days off and one of them being on a Friday, he's able to kind of relax and kind of do stuff around here on Friday so that Saturday evening he's not so wound up and so stressed. So we've been going through movies that we have maybe seen before and but not in a while. Like right now we're going through the Lord of the Rings series, and yeah, and
We didn't have the Hobbit, so we started from Fellowship.
yeah.
No, that's fine. I find the Hobbit series inferior anyway, so.
So we've been going through the Lord of the Rings series. We went through and watched Murder on the Orient Express, which is a great movie.
Which version?
The newer one
Aw.
with Brenna, yeah. And
I saw the Suchet one recently,
the
and
Suchet version is better, but I like Brenna's.
I mean, no, I get that. It's just,
Yeah.
it's like once I've seen Suchet, it's like
I know.
there's no one else.
I know.
Okay, anyway,
saw the newer
Poirot geeking out over next.
Yeah, we saw the newer
Jumanji
that came out, which was hilarious.
Not the sequel to it, but just
the newer one. We saw Spies in Disguise, which was funny. So like, there's different movies. We're getting Frozen 2. We got to go. We're going through and just picking movies and just having that time to just sit and veg and together. And we've turned it into like a whole thing. So like, we'll have either junk food night where we make just a bunch of junk food, or we'll do like Mexican night where we make Mexican food. But it's become a thing where we make everything, and the whole evening is surrounded by what movie we're doing and that whole thing. So that's been really cool, and that's a time where it's not like the world stops, but we typically are not on our phones. We are focused on the movie and talking and pausing the movie if we're confused by something. And it's been nice to reconnect. And then I said this with the other one, but getting to see our goddaughter more. John hasn't, because I usually have her during the day while he's at work, but that's been awesome for me because I'm getting to see her learn and help her learn and grow. And she's about to be 1.5, and I'm loving being able to take her and down to, we have a school that's right across the street from us, and so I'm taking her over to the playground since nobody's over there.
Aww.
Yeah, and so getting to see her, I gotta send you pictures.
Yeah.
But getting to see her play and again grow, and I had this whole realization one of the days that we had gone down to the playground, we were walking back, and I was like, holy cow, like I'm helping raising a person. This is weird because I'm so used to, well, because I work in a school system, and so I'm used to kids coming in and then they leave, and while I'm an influence on them, I'm not directly responsible for helping raise them.
No, I get that. I really like that wording. I'm raising a person.
I'm raising
that makes me
a
happy.
person, or I'm helping raise a person. and then obviously getting to see her mom more when she comes and drops her off and picks her up. And so it's just being able to reconnect with people and but at the same and reconnecting with John, but getting to see people or talk to people that I may not get to see or talk to on a regular basis. So that's been one for me. Liv, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, it's been really cool to watch some of these movies that are being released. Obviously, there's some disappointment with Wonder Woman 1984 being postponed, Mulan being postponed,
Yeah.
you know, Black Widow being postponed. And for our listeners, if you didn't already know, I'm a huge nerd.
Really?
So, yeah.
Wow, we couldn't tell.
So most of these superhero movies that are coming out have been postponed because either Disney is like, no, we really need to wait, or DC is like, no, we really need to wait because they are movies that need the big screen first. People want to see it all encompassed,
Yeah.
so I understand that. But my fiance and I have had a really good time watching. We watched Frozen 2. uh Loved it more than the first one, hated the
Amen.
first one, thought the first one was awful.
Mhm.
My fiance loves the first one, and so I told him, okay, we will watch the second one. I liked the second one, did not like the Michael Bolton scene with Kristoff, thought that was annoying.
Thank you. I agree.
It was so bad. But Olaf was a savage. Loved that. We watched, and some of these movies obviously are, you know, older audience should watch, but if you are more comfortable with some of the thrillers or suspenseful movies, The Invisible Man was fantastic. We sat down, we watched The Invisible Man. It was a really good thinker, really had us going the whole time. Is rated, for older audiences, but really touches on and kind of shows you the psychological process of what abuse looks like for an individual, and not shining light on it, but kind of giving you that realization of like, wow, this is what people go through. And it gave me the thought of how can I further my job in helping those individuals. So it was a really good movie, really enjoyed it. We've binge watched multiple shows at this point, but I'm going to spend most of my time talking about one particular aspect, that being Clone Wars. I need to talk about this really quick because
this this isn't your Oh boy, this is going to be a long one, guys. Hang on.
oh, the newest season of Clone Wars has got me so excited for May the 4th. And when this podcast comes out, we will already have had May the 4th. Really disappointed that, certain things that usually happen around May the 4th, that being celebration and but yeah, so this new season of Clone Wars Disney has produced and put out. My fiance got me hooked on Clone Wars right before COVID kind of hit, and then I was able to actually really binge watch each season on Disney Plus, and it's been really great. But this whole newness that comes with this season, and I'm not going to spoil it, but I think everybody knows who's in that Clone Wars kind of mindset right now. The last arc, this last little bit in the last season, is the Siege of Mandalore, and the fact that it parallels with Revenge of the Sith, I am dead, because by the time this one's out, the Siege of Mandalore will have come to a conclusion, and season 7 will have been finalized, and we will be done, and Clone Wars will have its grand ending that we've all been anticipating. So I don't know what happens in today's episode because I haven't watched today's episode, and May the 4th is the series finale, so I'm not 100% sure how it ends, but it's been so much fun to kind of watch this with my fiance. at the same time because he watched them all before me, and now we're going through this journey together, and it's really fun to nerd out about it. And again, if you haven't watched any Clone Wars but you're a Star Wars fan, go just watch this arc. The Siege of Mandalore arc. It is the last 4 of season 7. It correlates 100% to Revenge of the Sith. I am nerding out so much with it because there are moments, like the very beginning of the first episode, one of the characters comes back and you see Obi-Wan and Anakin looking at her and talking with her, and they get a call from the Jedi Council, and they look at her and they're like, "We can't help you. We're sorry. We have to go save the Chancellor," which is the beginning of Revenge of the Sith.
Wow.
We have to go save the Chancellor.
Yeah, and then there's in
Sorry,
the
I know,
second.
it's just like, hey, I know who that jerkwad is. Haha.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and at that point, they don't know, but we obviously know, and it's like, oh my
Don't
goodness,
save him, just let him, yeah.
right? Like, what if they had just not made that decision? You know what I mean?
He would have just electrocuted himself to death.
Exactly. And then in the second episode that we received last Friday, there was this moment, and we've all seen Revenge of the Sith, right? Everyone has seen Revenge of the Sith, episode 3.
Yes.
I have a new appreciation for it because of Clone Wars. So if you're a pre-trilogy hater like myself, watch Clone Wars, changes your perspective. Phantom Menace still is awful. Hate Phantom Menace, but Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith have a whole new appreciation because of Clone Wars. But there's a scene in Attack of the or in Clone Wars that the glass shatters around our not Jedi Knight and our Sith. They're about to battle and the glass shatters. And theory is that is the exact moment that Mace Windu is shot or is pulled out of the window and thrown to his death.
That makes
Like,
sense.
oh my goodness. And Order 66 is either coming in today's episode or Monday's episode. And we're going to get to see how this happens from different perspectives, and I'm literally dying of
Couldn't tell.
excitement.
Yeah,
Um
Mace Windu was the best. I know why they had to kill him off, but still, it's like, dude, come on.
yeah. I know it's sad. But like I wouldn't have these opportunities to not only watch all of this at my leisure with my fiance and have that excitement kind of building into it. But him and I have been able to attach ourselves into a different community with the Star Wars community. And we've been guesting on different podcasts and showing up in different live streams on YouTube that have talked about it and kind of had this dialogue with fellow nerds. I'm a nerd. And then there's Animal Crossing, of course. Almost 200 hours in Animal Crossing right now. No shame
No.
at all.
See, it was over 100 something last time you were there. It's like, ooh, she wrecked him up.
Oh yeah, I'm racking up those hours.
I
It's
love it.
great.
So, Caroline, I know you kind of talked about it a little bit, but is there anything else that you want to nerd out about? Because that's basically what it is.
I was gonna say, wait, hold on. Before Liv and I just totally stole the spotlight. I mean, don't you and
said
John want to
mine
nerd out some more?
of
Or
getting to watch stuff and be with Rowan and stuff like that. I don't know about John. So we're recording virtually, obviously, because we're trying to keep the social distancing and stuff. So John keeps hopping up, so he's walking around the room right now.
I mean,
I just imagine him walking around the room like a sim. It's like, all right, tell him to get back over
he's
to the
in
computer.
the room. He's having to stretch his legs because sitting too
I
long.
mean, yeah, like I got up and I was stretching my back out a little bit, walked around. But I mean, yeah, I've kind of said my piece of what's all really changed for me.
Well, no, is there anything?
Yeah, but no, nerd
gotten to
out.
do?
Nerd out.
Tell them about the BitLife game that you're playing
Oh
now.
gosh.
Oh my gosh, I had to delete that because I was investing too much time in BitLife.
Does it not have like the funniest like little things in there if you're paying attention?
Oh my gosh, I would stay up till like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning creating new people. And now they have the addition where like you die and you can go
Yeah.
back into the game as one of your children. And then they die, and
If
then
you
you go
buy
back in
the
as
game, you
one
can
of
do this
their children.
infinitely. But if you don't buy the game like me, you only get to go to the child, so you only do 2 generations, and it cuts you off.
But you gotta explain what BitLife is.
So, Olivia, I think Olivia's going to do a better job at explaining it because of how much she's put onto it, apparently.
Liv, explain
I had
to
to
viewers
delete
what
it.
BitLife is.
Okay, so BitLife is this like virtual. It reminds me of like Sims, but you start off being born, and you basically just hit the button like add a year, add a year, add a year, and you kind of go through the life of this particular character. You don't play anything; you just kind of read dialogue that's going on. You go through, your first year. You obviously can't do a whole lot. Second year, same. Then you go to elementary school, and you start to be given these prompts of oh, there's a bully, how do you handle it? And you have these responses to a bully that you can choose hit them back, you can choose tell your parents, you can choose tell a teacher, tell your sibling,
And
just
also,
ignore
you
it.
can
Like
make
there's all these
friends in
options.
your school. You can
um
push buttons to study harder, skip school, go to the
exactly.
doctor, go for walks, stuff like that.
Exactly. And you continue through like middle school and high school, and you take your driver's test, you can get a part-time job, and throughout all of this your attractiveness, your happiness, your
Health.
smarts, and there's one more, your health, are all gauged, green being good, yellow being moderate, and red being
And they
horrible.
also have percentages on them.
um and Exactly. And then you can continue on into college. If your smarts are high enough, you can get student loans. If you can't, if you just can't get a scholarship
Or
or
you
your
can pay with
parents won't
cash if
pay
you
because those
worked
are
hard enough as a
options,
part-time
you
job.
can.
Or free in some countries.
Exactly. Um, Exactly. You can go further and get your master's, your PhD. Like you can have these, you can just go straight into your job. You can go rob a bank if you want to. You can, have a drive-by shooting if you want to. You can steal a car if you want to. You can get married. You can do online dating. You can meet somebody through like just random. You don't have to get married. You can change your life all completely. You can get pets.
It's crazy. You could spend
It's crazy.
a good hour on 1 year if you start trying to do everything. And if you were to try to go, and
Oh
luckily they
yeah.
have some special features where you're like able to spend time with all your friends by pushing only one button and watching a commercial. Unless you own the game, then you don't get the commercial. I know.
Wow, if only I could do that.
And it saves a crap ton of time. Because if you get to the point, I try to make friends with everybody I work with. That way you don't have workplace problems. And that would see.
I prefer to play with workplace problems.
I don't. I got fired from one job like literally the year before I could retire because of workplace problems. One time.
See, I play BitLife in the way of how would I not
I
actually
do a little
behave?
bit of that.
Because like I wouldn't actually rob a bank, but I'm like, my BitLife person could rob a bank. Let's rob a bank. I wouldn't rob a bank in reality, but this is giving me the option to
See,
rob
I
a
had
bank.
this.
I'll
This is
do it.
where Jordan kind of kicked in with me on this, where I started talking to her a little bit more about it. I turned down a supervisor from trying to sleep with me on there. They came after me with a rocket launcher and killed me.
Yup.
I was like, really? A rocket launcher? Where did somebody in India get a rocket launcher?
Right.
That is the best reaction to a
It was
rejection.
great.
He was crazy.
I mean, look, there's just the difference. I don't know. It's
You were
just
stabbed, you were shot with a gun, you
oh
were
man.
killed with a rocket launcher. I mean, there's a little bit.
Yeah, nothing realistic. Just straight up, let's go for absolutely
There's a
unbelievable.
headline,
I love
and one
it.
of them is like Jamaica was accusing the United States from hoarding weapons of mass destruction, and Jamaica was about to go to war with America, and it was going to cause World War III. And it's like, why is Jamaica caring about this at all?
It's great. that's been fun to hear him talk about that. So that's been the thing that, I mean, there's a couple of things that he's been able to, there's been video games that he's been able to play a little bit more, but
Back on the N64.
But the BitLife one is the one that, like, if he's on his phone for a long period of time, I'm like, what are you doing? And he'll just look at me with this real sheepish smile, and it's like, BitLife. So, yeah, I know more about his BitLife life than his life.
That is so not fair.
So,
That sounds like when I used to roleplay on MySpace.
My thing is and it's not, I haven't really nerded out on anything. I've just been on my phone a lot more. Me and Facebook have gotten real close. Again. So, I haven't done anything like that. Caroline, do you want to say anything?
Yeah. Trying to think about, like, what else. I mean, I've read some books. I brought some library books home when the shutdown first happened, and I've basically, I want to say I've read through most of them. Some of them I got kind of halfway through because it's like, I don't know if I'm really jiving with this particular book, but did that. Like I said, played the emulators, which is fun. Been tutoring, like I said. Gotta think about. Oh, how could I forget the singing lessons? I have wanted singing lessons for years, and I will say, it's the lady that I'm working with. It's a lot different from what I expected it to be, because my mind, I really want to get away from this. I don't want to be a perfectionist anymore because it stinks and it keeps me from enjoying things in life and from doing things in perhaps messy ways that would actually be better. And the thing is, though, she has been a paradigm shift for me, because she's not very much, okay, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. It's, okay, I recommend that we do this for your voice. Oh, you sounded like that? That sounded wonderful. And here I am going, but I thought I sounded terrible. No, you sounded wonderful. And yesterday she hit me upside the head with an incredible revelation, which sounds really dumb, but at the same time, once you really think about it, it's just like, wow, I can't believe I never really thought about it like this way before. Singing should be easy. If it's not easy and it's not fun, then you probably don't sound good. And if it's easy, then you will enjoy it, which will help everybody else to enjoy it as well, because they'll see how much you're enjoying it. And you don't want to hurt your voice. You don't want to hurt your body. And it's just like, because what I love about her so much is that she said, look, I'm a perfectionist like you too. I used to think that I had to sing like this or I had to sing like that. And then she's like, well, I met certain teachers, and it's like, wow, I've been trying too hard. I have been keeping myself from my full potential because I just need to be free to be my own voice. And that is truly whatever is easiest for me. Now, I mean, I want to build up muscle in my, abdomen. I want my diaphragm to become sturdier. I want my jaw to become looser, as well as my. Okay, here's a creepy thing I learned, and everybody else try it just because it's really cool and creepy. You can, if your voice box is like tight, because I never really thought about my vocal cords being tight, you can put like your thumb and forefinger just like gently around your throat, and then just sort of massage it like back and forth. And if you feel something clicking, that's your voice box. And that's a sign. And that's a sign that it's kind of tight. So I told her, how long until it stops clicking?
Okay.
And she said,
we're making our voice boxes click, and it's really
with our fingers.
I'm not participating.
That's so gross. I don't want to do that.
I know. And she told me, she warned me beforehand. She's like, I know this is going to be kind of weird, but.
It's so bad. No. No.
I'm sorry. Okay, guys, so that's what I've been doing.
Hard pass.
Oh, and I've been catching up on animes that I want to watch, so that's also nice. But
No.
yeah, okay. That was worth the whole story. Oh my word. She said she used to have a high school student, who when she was bored in class, she would do her facial like loosening exercises, which included that. And she's like, "Honey, they're gonna think you're weird." And her student said, "They already think I'm weird. Just let them, watch me sticking my tongue out, trying to touch my chin, and massaging my face till my eyes roll back into my head, and me clicking my vocal cord."
Liv, why is your hand raised?
Because she
Because
wants it to stop.
no, I was gonna ask. Once everyone has finished, how can we implement these healthy and even maybe some, the binging not being as healthy? Like I binge watched Tiger King. How can we implement that into normal life when we get back to normal
You want to go
life?
ahead?
Very good question.
Yeah, go.
Do you want me to go? Yeah. Um, Scheduling things out better for me personally. Not working 6 to 7 days a week and making time not just for my family, not just for my fiance, but really taking into account myself and scheduling out me time because I'm not, as we all know, the best at doing me time and me therapy, uh, and just giving myself that freedom and that permission to have scheduled out Animal Crossing time or movies that I want to watch time or reading time or art time that is not 12 o'clock
Right.
at night.
Yeah.
That's my
Repeat
answer.
the question real fast. Sorry, Happy started barking.
No, you're good. Just how can we take some of these slow down like loves and new discoveries and new habits that we're creating with family, friends, the healthier ones. Um Again, binge watching Tiger King is not the healthiest thing in the entire universe. Would advise against it, still did it. How can we take these that we don't usually get to do, like movie nights or, geeking out and connecting with Star Wars communities or taking self care time? How can we take that from COVID? We have so much time to when we get back to our normal lives, putting that into practice normally.
I think like for me and John with the movie nights and stuff like that, maybe not doing it every time, because obviously as we go back into normal routine, he's going to go back to having to work full time, and I know that he's going to want those days where
I'm still at full time.
we're
just
still
going
at
to
full time.
overtime.
You just won't be at overtime. But being able to like sit there and go, okay, instead of doing it every week like we've been doing, maybe we do it every other week, and that gives him a break to do what he wants and play what games he wants. But I think it's just kind of figuring out the pace and figuring out, okay, I have this time to this time free. I'm gonna, instead of just crashing, I'm gonna choose to do this that I like doing before. I'm gonna take time to read. Sorry, we have a dog. So yeah, that would be my answer. You want to add anything, John? Well, I've got you. Okay.
Nah.
All right, go ahead, Caroline.
That was essentially my answer too, is schedule the time that you want to do something, and it doesn't have to be a long time, as long as perhaps you at least get a little of it in, because we're in a society where we're used to sort of being able to do what we want for hours and hours on end, particularly once you hit adult life and suddenly there's no parent there to tell you, no, put the Game Boy down. You have to go to bed. You're an adult who goes, I don't have to hide under the covers with a flashlight. I can just keep all the lights on. And then you wake up in the morning and go, why? So that's learning how to schedule in your fun. You can still have your fun. Adult life doesn't kill all the wonderful things that you want to do. You just have to figure out, okay, I can still have fun, but maybe I should just do only 30 minutes of it. set yourself a timer, maybe even set goals in your video game, which I know sounds kind of weird, but I think that's very easily done in Animal Crossing. And as far as with Pokemon goes, it's like, okay, I'm going to level up my character to this, so I can evolve out my Dragonair into a Dragonite, whatever, and then, go, okay, that's it for the day. I will pick up on this tomorrow. And yeah, and maybe give yourself enough time to do multiple things in maybe 30-minute increments. So that way it's like, oh, but I didn't get to do this today. No, you don't have to do a lot of it.
Sounds good.
Just maybe enough of it.
All right. Well,
So, yeah.
and Liv, is there anything you want to ask or tell our viewers before we sign off for the day?
Yes. We have Twitter.
Woohoo!
We have
And
theater.
one of the things, and I want to go ahead and tell our listeners, like, I was very apprehensive about Twitter because I know the negativity that comes and can be produced through Twitter. But one of the really cool things that I've been learning is that is the best way to get connected with communities with like-minded goals and like-minded uh, viewpoints that just are really, really wanting to connect with other people. So, one of the really cool things that we've been doing on Twitter is connecting to faith based podcasts and retweet. I've been retweeting some of their stuff, encouraging, people to listen, that follow us. Hey, listen to this one. I've been listening to a lot of these either in the past or I've just started like picking them up and like, okay, well, let me hear what you have to say because I really am interested in your viewpoints. Let's dive deeper. Let's connect with each other. But also one of the really cool things that I'm doing with Twitter is I'm being as super active as humanly possible. With Instagram it's really difficult because it's a photo and a description of every little thing that you're doing and that can become very excessive. So if you want kind of more of a dialogue and kind of a hey, this is what we're up to, this is kind of what we're doing hour to hour, head over to our Twitter. I'm going to plug it, John, because it is slightly different than our Instagram
Yes.
and
And thank
Facebook.
you for telling me that, not because it took me forever to find it.
Well, my bad. I've changed it like 6 times,
Okay.
so it's okay. It's you only get a certain amount of characters, and call to the table is actually too long for an at. So I've changed it like multiple times because some of them are kind of the ones I've tried are kind of dumb, and I've finally stuck to one, so we're good.
I just like CTTT.
Yeah.
Or, C3T. I don't know. That sounds like a droid in Star Wars.
But I say put a hyphen between the first T and the rest of the T's, and that.
I kind of thought about doing that, but because we're not a nerd faith-based podcast, I didn't want to give people the wrong idea.
That is very true.
So if you're interested in kind of some of the stuff that we're interested in, again, I retweet and I kind of keep up with the community and share certain things that I find are really fun. I also share a bunch of photos and gifs and just overall goofiness. You can follow us at our name is Called to the Table, but you can find us at Table Team, capital C, capital T, capital T, capital T, because that's what we are. Called to the Table, abbreviated as C triple T. So yeah, and it's really cool. And as we've been kind of chatting throughout this podcast, you might have heard us talk about these day in the life quarantine vlogs that we're doing. Those will be found on our Instagram if you're interested in watching them. We're doing individuals, and then we're going to do one big one that kind of incorporates while we live individual lives all together, kind of one day. What are we all doing that same day? So you can check those out on our Instagram. Those will also be on our Twitter. And if you have anything that you guys want to see us do, any goofy things that could bless you and you would find as a blessing to your day to day to watch, to hear, to read, shoot me a direct message on Twitter or on Instagram. I am constantly looking for new ways to connect to our community, being our listeners and our fellow podcasters. So give us a shout and let us know what you would like to see because we want to give you something to look forward to in this weird time in this pandemic. It's really hard to have a constant, goal to go towards, especially when things have been canceled. Well, our podcast is not canceled and our social media is not canceled. So if you want to see something in particular, shoot us a request. We'll see what we can do.
Awesome. All right, John, lead us out.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Call to the Table. If you would like to get in contact with us with requests for future episodes, comments, concerns, or just want to chat, you can get in contact with us at the Twitter and Instagram that Olivia just pointed out. Or you can get in contact with us at Call to the Table Pod at...
No, it's at calltothetable@gmail.com.
Well, I was talking about the Facebook and...
Oh, sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How dare you mess this up?
Liv, I had to steal your job.
John, you have one thing to do. Just one thing.
I stole Liv's job of interrupting John.
I know.
Yeah, and I'm even recording myself for my day in the life to interrupt John, and you stole it from me. So now this is just me talking into a microphone like an idiot.
Don't you do that anyways?
Shut up, John.
At Facebook and Instagram is Call to the Table Pod.
Sorry.
Or at Gmail at Called to the Table at oh gosh, now you messed me up. At gmail.com.
Yes! Success!
That's your goal in life, isn't it, Olivia?
I mean, yeah, because, let's be real, you are really good at it.
Well, thank you.
I just have to be a pain in the butt.
You're good at that anyways. It's okay.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time, and I can't remember the episode we're doing next time now.
It's okay, I can't remember either.
Okay.
Alright.
Goodbye, by the way. No one else said it, so I'll just go ahead and say something.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Liv, you don't usually say bye, so.
Well, no one else said it, so I was like, let's be aggressive.
Bye.
Bye.
Clone Wars.